stars of Sedona Canyon skies. I wonder why it is that I'm alive. Double rainbows above Hawaii rise. I realize the blessing life is giving. War and poverty, conflict and hunger. Oh, earth, I feel your beauty and your wounds, yeah. With my brain I break through lies. My purpose here I realize. I am an earth citizen. A roll of thunder through the New York skies. Birth and death, the greatest sources of meaning, yeah. The tears of knowing a sin. We are all earth citizens. War and poverty, conflict and hunger. Oh, earth, I feel your beauty and your wounds, yeah. With my brain I break through lies. My purpose here I realize that it's time to break on through. It's up to me and it's up to you, yeah. I am an earth citizen. We are all earth citizens. I am who we are, yeah. Yes, we will. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, I am who you are. Come on, yeah. Come on, yeah. Come on, yeah. Come on, yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So we already informed you that it's streaming live right now, and please feel free to ask any questions. Since this is a small group, I think we can be able to have a more interactive talk. So today's topic is heart health. Heart is actually a topic of heart is very, for me personally, very dear to my heart, because not only physically, heart is very important to us, and this has been overlooked many ways, and also considered silent disease or condition in many of the regions. Oftentimes you'll find your friends and family or acquaintance or someone you know might have a heart attack or certain condition you never suspected they might have, or you never suspected they might be hospitalized. Aside from health perspective, heart is also very much connected to our emotion and our thought and how we feel. Do you agree with me? Sometimes we can just purely talk about it in a physical or medicine or Western medical perspective and talk about what heart is, how many muscle is there, how many times the heart beats, and how that's affecting our health, and how what we do is affecting our heart. But on our energetical and emotional, and also how we feel, on a feeling perspective, we can look at heart in a little bit in a different angle. Would you say? So you agree with me that how we feel and how we think does definitely affect our heart. Oh yeah. If you agree that how we think and how we feel definitely affect our heart, and we have to also think about what kind of thought, what kind of emotion affecting our heart. Well, let's just divide it, the fact that some good thoughts and good emotion and good feeling affect our health in a good way. And perhaps bad thoughts, bad emotion, bad feeling might affect our heart in a bad way. Would you agree? Yes. And how many percentage in a day that we have a good feeling, good thought, and good emotion? A lot. Good. I can see that you do. I can see that you do. I have to say you're few people in the world, one of the few people in the world, lucky enough to be able to say that often, and majority of the time, that you do have a good feeling, good thoughts, and good emotion. But the truth is, majority of the people in the world do not have good thoughts, good feeling, or good emotion. Evidence is pretty obvious when you watch TV or news, so on. Would you say? No. No more evening news. I think that's a very good solution. We gotta write that down. No more evening news, because I don't watch news anymore. Right. Something to do with the mass media. Well, we can get into that and to that topic, talk about it for hours, because I have a personal opinion about that. But I think no more evening news would be a very good start in affecting a heart in a good way. So I totally agree with you, and I think that's one of the very healthy remedies to what's going on, and what's going on in the world, but also what's going on on ourselves and our health. Since we are connected to everything and everybody in the world, I'm talking about it more on an energetical and conscious level. By creating good thoughts, not watching evening news, to just maintain a good feeling throughout the evening, actually you are generating good energy around you and eventually affecting the whole world. So I suggest you to keep going and keep doing that. So let's talk about heart a little bit. Can I be able to move to the next one? So earlier I did mention about looking at our health in not only anatomical and physiological level only, but also energetical and emotional and perhaps even a spiritual level. In order to do that, I think it is important for us to be able to feel our heart, because we often do not pay attention to our heart. I think main reason is because that our heart just beats by itself without us paying attention, right? When we want to walk from here to there, we have to tell our brain to give direction what to do. But as far as our heart, we don't have to give any instruction. Our heart just does its job automatically, diligently, tirelessly. And also breathing too. So those are the two things that actually control by the sympathetic nerve. But heart is something that we don't have to give attention to, but it does anyway, right? When we be able to actually feel it, when we be able to actually correlate to our emotion and thoughts, actually we can be able to create a different rhythm in our heart. But also paying attention is actually a very, very important step. The interesting thing about heart connected to Oriental medicine, I'm an Oriental medicine practitioner. When it comes to spirit or war of spirit, in Western culture, we often think of the area of the head, right? It could be head region or top of your head, or we could call it crown chakra, right? But in Oriental medicine, we believe the spirit is reside in the heart. So when the heart stops, then we also believe that that's your last moment. So let's put our hand on our heart a little bit, the center, a little tiny bit to the left, and just feel your heart. See how it beats. And breathing deeply in and out, and see how your heart beats fast or slow. On an energetical level, energy goes where our mind goes. When you put your hand on your heart and feeling your heart and feeling your heartbeat with your mind, when you bring your energy into the heart, you're already starting the healing process. Please come back. How did it feel? Boom, boom, boom. There's a rhythm to it, right? And there's a beat to it. There's a rhythm in everything that's around us. There's a rhythm in our abdomen, in our brain, in our pulse, in our wrist, in our ankle, everywhere. But all of this will stop if our heart stops. Our heart beats, as you can see here, about 100 times a day. And they equate to about 2.5 billion beats in one lifetime. That's a lot, right? And it sends out about 2,000 gallons of blood per day through 60,000 miles of blood vessels throughout the body. So it's working very, very hard throughout the day. If we can be able to create a rhythm with our heart as far as exercise goes, I just found out that in order to create a rhythm and right rhythm in your exercise, all you have to do is just walk, starting with about 1,000 steps a day. And I found out that 1,000 steps a day equates to about 7 to 10 minutes, and you can increase to 10,000 steps, which will be like 1 hour. So if you can just walk 1 hour a day, you're already creating the right rhythm, right, like harmony and synchronicity with your heart. Heart disease is your greatest health threat, earlier that we mentioned about that, more than any other conditions or disease, especially in Northern America and Europe, but more so in Northern America. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's one to consider silent disease, because you never really know. Most of the time, you don't really know what happens, because just like heartbeats, we don't pay attention that it's beating. One day it could create many different blockages or conditions that you don't really know that's happening. And before you know, might have a prolonged condition later in time. You control your heart health through exercise, diet, and managing stress. This is something that everyone knows. Isn't that true? Exercise, diet, and managing stress. How that's that going? Since you already know, I'm sure everyone knows about this. I know this, but it's not easy for me. Mm. Mm. How do we change that? How do we remedy that? A little bit of time. Do you feel that people are more aware now? Right. Right. Mhm. 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 Mm. But you agree that there's more awareness now, perhaps than before. Just that as far as culturally, it's not instilled in our daily day life. Um, but it is true that I think there more information is out there. But in some way, it's kind of shame in a country like us that really um, even the basic like diet, food, and intake on just knowing what is the right thing to do, right thing to eat, and as a mass that there's a lot of re-education is need to be done. Starting with exercise, we already know that just simply doing the exercise or running or walking will help create a, not only cardiovascular vascular to run smoothly and become stronger. So that already is something we know. We hear about it all the time. So we already know that it is very, very good to exercise. Diet is a whole another part that we can also talk about it. When I visited Europe and even some part of Asia, I was so shocked the how culturally eating healthy, fresh, and also enjoying food is so much part of who they are and their life that is so different than where we live. And this fast development of fast food and McDonald's and everything else, and that we don't really sit down and enjoy what we have. We don't really sit down and enjoy what we grow that's around in our neighborhood and so on. But then again, like we already mentioned, I think awareness is there and change is happening. Perhaps not as fast as we would like. And managing stress. Managing stress, I think it is kind of whole big ballpark that we also talk about it. How do we manage stress? And that related to how do we manage our thought and emotion, our relationships in our lives. Same thing with me. I know this, but there are many relationships comes and go, and that have created in our lives, and a lot of work that we need to do that created around us. It's not easy to deal with it sometimes, right? You know, I know, we could do better, but at times we can really get into certain situations that really stress us out, right? Yeah. No problem. I was just in New York and hanging out with my brothers. I always had two crazy brothers. Um, we were driving from one area to the other to go to a restaurant. And it was just maybe 11 or 12 blocks, the road. I have to say, my brother just screamed the whole time. You call it road rage, but it's just part of their life. And after we got out of the car, like, what just happened? He goes, what happened? He didn't notice it. Like, I told him, you were never like this. And he just sat down in the chair for a little bit, for a while, and said, you're right, I was never like this. And he didn't even realize it. Until it became just part of their life, and they think that's just a normal thing to do. So I'm so glad I'm back in Sedona. But just seeing what was happening, even the people who are close to me, how things have changed, and some of the things they accept as a normal is not normal to us, not normal to our body, and it's not healthy to us. And also being able to stop and be able to watch what we are doing, how we think is very, very important. But since we are on such a fast pace and everything, fast food, fast work, fast train, car, and everything, we don't really stop and think about it. So one of the talk that I also give at the time is about just stopping some part of the day. It could be in the morning, in the midday, or in the evening, to just stop ourselves, stop our thought and emotion and all the activity, just to go into the place of emptiness. And you can call it meditation, you can call it whatever you want, and whatever helps you to go to that place, I think it is important for us to do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be meditation or yoga. It could be painting, it could be swimming, sometimes it's dancing, sometimes bicycling. Every person's that just creating that space is different. But I believe that is a very important step, an important way for us to managing our energy and eventually managing our stress. What do you think? And I believe that you already do that. So Larry's going like this. Being consistent, yes. Important key to heart health, and it is free. And also one of the things that I was thinking about is that also apply to myself, is that why we take things for granted, that those things are free. And those things are free, or those things are cheap. They could be air, exercise, even water. Now we have to pay for it, some of the good waters. Before it was completely free, consume. And those are some of the simple but also free stuff that we can use to create healthy state. Don't you think? I don't know, just in my meditation it came to me, all of us really take things for granted, things that's free. Including love, hug, affection, saying I love you, whatever that might be. It doesn't cost much. Stress. Relax, manage your stress. We already talked about this, how to manage our stress. So I'm sure everyone has their own way to managing your stress. When I was living in New York, I had a different way to manage my stress. Now I'm living in Sedona, I have a different way to manage my stress. I had tons of many different ways that I had to come up with dealing with my stress in New York. I can give you tons of things. Some of them are very, very funny, but it worked. New York City, but it worked for me. Oh, you guys are from New York. We gotta talk about how you manage your stress. Some of the things that I did, it worked for me, but when I share that with other people, they find it to be quite interesting. So. All right, mood and emotion. Be happy. There's no unhappy, healthy heart. Mood and emotion. It's a kind of, in a way, it is a very big topic, mood and emotion. And how is your mood and emotion? First, you have to catch your mood and emotion, because sometimes you don't even know you're in certain mood or emotion. Sometimes your emotion becomes you. Where we look at it, emotion is sort of like the menu that you pick and choose. But oftentimes people think that's who they are. But as one first step, when you realize the emotion is something that we choose, I think it's easier for us to be able to choose different emotion that's much healthier. Don't you think? Manage them, yes. I mean, for the longest time in my life, I also believed and thought that emotion was me. And I really identify myself with a specific emotion. Oftentimes it was quite, yes. It's very simple, but it's a powerful statement, a powerful true statement. But doesn't mean that everyone believes that. I found out. Mm. Thank you. Next one is circulation and blood pressure. Blood pressure. Open up, let it flow. So, I mean, one of the best thing for this one is exercise, moving your body, doing the cardiovascular, all of those things will help creating a better circulation and helps with the blood pressure. But specifically blood pressure, since I also went through the bouts of that, I noticed that definitely emotion and stress has a lot to do with that part. I mean, of course, you can still manage with the diet and exercise. And I noticed that when I was in New York City versus when I did my own quiet personal retreat, that I can really feel the difference in my body and also affecting my blood pressure. Diet. This is also, once again, we talked about it and touched on it earlier. Not only to have creating awareness in us, but also be able to creating awareness in the people around us with the love and grace. Oftentimes, when we have certain information, we might teach others, but they might think of it as us preaching them. But we can still be the example. Being example is actually one of the best way to be able to creating that energy. Not only being aware, but continuously informing ourselves, educating ourselves about diet and what is the best way to have eating good food. I don't feel like there's end to what we can know as far as what we can consume. Not only learning about organic, non-GMO, but also be able to creating energy through a certain diet and certain cooking is also very important. Oh, the walking here. Exercise to get the best beat. Walk starting from 1,000 steps. Earlier I told you it only lasts for like 7 minutes, and increase it up to 10,000 steps. That will go up to 40 minutes and 50 minutes, a little longer. Okay. And tap and vibrate. Tapping part, some of you who took the class before might understand what this is. It literally is about just literally tapping your body like this. And you're actually not only tapping the physical aspect of it, but tapping the energy meridians in the body helps creating the energy flow throughout the body, and also opening up the channels and opening the meridians. Unknowingly, you might open up many points in the body. I do acupuncture. If you do this right, and if you do this consistently every day, it's almost like getting acupuncture every day. Because you're tapping on all the meridians. And intestinal exercise Do you know about intestinal exercise? If you want to know more about it, you could just go to YouTube and put intestinal exercise. I think we have some videos might be in Eco and also Body and Brain and bodyandbrain.com. And we have tons of videos about intestinal exercise. And position your legs higher than your heart and bounce and shake. And this is part of exercise. Perhaps we can be able to show you later on. The next is open your arms, relax, and breathe with your chest. Earlier, we talked about how intricately emotion is connected to our heart, right? When our heart is open, we're literally energetically open. When our heart is closed, energetically closed, but also we physically close. Like either we cross our arms, bring our arms around to protect ourselves, but also that's a sign of closing the heart. One of the behavior research that I was part of in New York with the kids, teenagers, and adolescents with the depression. One of the first things that I personally noticed, which got into the study, is kids' behavior, kids' body movement. When these kids start to have a depression, only get deep depression, their body posture start to change. So they start to have almost like a hunchback. They have like the cave in their chest. Sometimes putting their hands in the pocket, literally, or their heart gets folded, their chest gets folded in. But when they start to come out of this little bit over time, you can really see the progression that how their shoulders start opening up, their postures start to change. It's also, I can also explain this in a meridian perspective. When the meridians start to close up, your body posture changes. So open your arms, relax, and breathe with your chest. Even though you might not want to do it, sometimes just open your and breathe deeply, making a big movement and opening your arms like this. It helps opening the chest because the heart and the pericardium meridians is on the arm, like this, down here to the heart, literally from chest to your arm. So just making this kind of movement and this kind of gesture helps open up the meridians. Next one, allow your body move gently, following the natural flow of energy. Stay free and mindful. Following the natural flow of energy. What does that mean? Ultimately, what comes down to it is mindfulness. When we do certain things, when we say certain things, when we eat, when we engage with others, we get into more of a habitual action and thoughts. We don't really think about what's going on. We're not really aware of what's going on. And when we start to be aware, we start to become more and more mindful. When we start to be more aware, we become more mindful. And our thought and behavior and action start to change in accordance with energy flow. And we do exactly what our body wants to do. Because our bodies continuously communicating with us on what is best for us. Our bodies continuously communicating with us what to eat too. What not to eat too. So another story that I want to tell you. In New York, there's a lot of buffet, like groceries, a lot of buffets, especially in New York City, because people are, very busy, so they'll just come and get food and eat very quickly. So if you go to buffet, there's all kinds of different food, different vegetables, different salad, different meat, and so on. So I decided I'm going to really feel the energy and let my body to tell me what is best for me. So I just walked to the buffet and just let my body respond to certain thing. And I close my eyes, and whenever I just feel right, that's the food that I pick and put it in my tray. Of course, people thought that I was a crazy woman, but I'm sure maybe a few people follow me, but or not. But when I had that meal, although I don't normally might pick those because I'm more visual and kind of react to what other people are eating, what other people might think that I should eat. But when I eat those food first, when I just pick because I thought that they might be good, I can really feel the difference in my body. That's one of our ways to listen to our body, but that's also one of ways for us to be mindful of what's going on in our body. Okay, the last one, smile and LOL. You know LOL already, right? Do whatever you can to create that. Do whatever you can to create that for those of you, those people who you love and people around you. Okay, next one. I am not, of course, sharing anything new here. This is something that you already know. But like you said earlier, although we are aware, but we don't practice it all the time. But one of the best things that we can do for one another is just reminding the things that's good that we already know. As far as a heart goes, one of the best energy that we can create, one of the healthy state we can create for our heart is appreciation and having sense of gratitude. When we have appreciation and sense of gratitude, we can really utilize the best energy of the heart, which is love and compassion. And when we are tapping into love and compassion, I believe we become the most intelligent being, because heart has the highest intelligence than anything else in the world. We think that it's the intelligence of mind, but it's intelligence of the heart that will create the health for us and for everyone else. All right. As far as a simple exercise that I want to share with you, as far as a meridian, relating to meridian, that is, I think that's something we can quickly do it, but I don't know if I can use this. So let me first show you. Like this, and just twist your arm, making your pinkies twist to the back, all the way, and a little bit to the back. And come back. And bend forward a little bit, twist all the way. Okay. Come back. So the earlier I told you about the meridians, the heart meridians, that from here, pinky, and up, and the pericardium. Pericardium is the sac that's wrapped around the heart that runs down to the middle finger. So all these meridians can be opened up by this simple exercise, and this is one of the exercises also I recommend to EMT. They will go people who have a heart attack or over sign of a heart attack, to recommend them to do this exercise. So let's try this a few more times together. Arms out like this. Twist. Pinkies to the back. And bend forward. And twist other way. Again. Twist. Can you feel the line? They're all the way going to your heart? Good. And And your arms a little bit to the back when you do this. And bend forward the other way. Come back. Very good. All right. So we are going to wrap this up with, unless you have any questions they might have. No? Well, thank you for coming today. Don't be surprised that your head, back of your head might be get very famous on online because we are streaming this. Okay, thank you for coming, and thank you for coming to our heart health workshop. Thank you.